Hello friends, and welcome back to Swift Lessons for another rock guitar tutorial. In today's session, I'm going to be breaking down 3 iconic riffs of the 1960s that will serve you as excellent finger warm-ups. Now these riffs have been chosen for their influential status, their ease of play, and also their practice benefits. I got a full tab for you at patreon.com/swiftlessons. You can become a member there and gain access to a ton of extra resources for all my popular YouTube guitar lessons. Now let's get started. Okay, close look at the fretboard, getting started with riff number 1, the Beatles Day Tripper in the key of A, and then also transposed up a fourth to the key of A. Now this might be the Beatles' most recognizable riff. It's built from the major and minor pentatonic scale, so a hybrid of both of those positions, and it's really good for developing your sense of timing and also your alternate picking. It's gonna sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, let's break that down. Okay, getting started learning that riff over the E chord. Started off with the low E string open, then 3-4, then 2nd fret of the A string, 2nd fret D string, and then the open D string to finish up. Put that together and we have. Okay, my pick is traveling down, up, down, 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 up. And as soon as I start learning something, I like to start considering the count. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and. So I'm using alternate picking, generally speaking, downstrokes on the numbered beats, upstrokes on the ends in between those numbered beats, unless I'm going to be falling from one string to the next, in which case I like to use that rest stroke technique there, just dropping the pick down, down, to save a little bit of energy. Okay, so. Okay, the next measure is going to sound like this. One more time. Okay, so that was the 2nd fret of the A string, the B note, the 4th fret of the D string, back to the 2nd fret A string with an upstroke, and then 0-2 on the D string. Again, trying to make sure that my downstrokes are on the numbered beats. Okay, put those 2 measures together and you basically have the main riff of the tune. We're gonna repeat that one more time. Then drop it down one string and play it verbatim. Okay, then return back to the E riff. To complete that iconic intro for the Beatles Day Tripper. Now I do have a full lesson on that tune. If you want to access that, then just click up here to that card. That'll take you to my full lesson breaking down that Beatles classic. Okay, so now assuming that you have practiced through each of those measures nice and slow and you've built the muscle memory up, let's see if we can play through the entire riff. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2 and A. E. Okay, now you're ready for riff number 2. Okay, very good everybody. We have one iconic riff in the bag so far. Now we're jumping into riff number 2. Jimi Hendrix, Foxy Lady in the key of F sharp. Now this came out in 1967, completely took the guitar world by storm, and on an album full of recognizable riffs, this might be the most recognizable intro on that record. Are you experienced? It's gonna sound like this nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 1 and excellent for stretching out those fingers. Okay, so this riff is actually quite simple. We're starting off on the F sharp note. That's going to be the 2nd fret of the low E string. We're going to perform that twice. Okay, so that was one end. Then on the 2nd beat, we're going to grab the 5th frets of the B and high E string with the pinky barring. Okay, another downstroke for emphasis. Okay, next we're going to grab another F sharp note. That's going to be the 4th frets of the D string. Okay, then go back to those treble notes again and strum. Okay, so that is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, from there, next measure, we're going to grab F sharp again on the low E string. Then instead of going to those high notes, we're just going to hit a dead stroke. Alright, then we're going to walk. That was 5th fret of the low E string, 2nd fret of the A, chromatic up 3rd fret, 4th fret, to complete that walk. Okay, so what you have so far is 2 measures of music. A 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and scratch, walk. Okay, so that's taken pretty much verbatim from the record, but there's tons and tons of different variations that he throws in, so I'm kind of creating a composite routine for you to practice. Now, your next 2 measures are going to sound like this, just a slight variation. Okay, so back to that low E string, to the highs. Okay, then to that other F sharp note on the D string. So that was verbatim. Okay, now we're just gonna throw in that little fill. Okay, 2nd fret of the D string, 4th fret of the A string there, that C sharp note, and then back to the F sharp, 2nd fret of the low E string, before grabbing those high notes again, 5th frets of the B and the high E strings. So you put that together and it sounds like this, nice and slow. Then we're just going to throw in that walk once more. Okay, to complete that iconic riff. Okay, very good everyone. We have that iconic riff down, a fantastic warm-up for stretching your fingers and also practicing your counting. Let's see if we can play through the entire thing. A 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and scratch. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Just like that. Okay, now you're ready to move on to our 3rd and final riff. Okay, beautifully done everybody. We have 2 iconic riffs down, and now we're jumping into our 3rd and final riff for this session. In 1964, a guitarist named Billy Sanford set the groundwork for one of Roy Orbison's most memorable hits with this iconic riff. Of course, I'm talking about the intro to Pretty Woman. This is in the key of E, or it's being played over top of an E chord, but the actual tune is in the key of A. Again, awesome for your alternate picking, awesome for your counting. It's actually very similar to what we played in the Beatles' Day Tripper. It's gonna sound like this. A 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Pretty Woman. Okay, so a very recognizable riff there, and part of a song that is excellent for developing your rhythm guitar chops, especially if you're kind of in that beginner intermediate stage of playing. Now, I did just create a complete lesson on that song, so if you want to learn the full tune, just click that card right up there in the corner. It will take you right to that full lesson. Okay, so getting started now, we basically have 2 versions of the same riff, one short and one long. Okay, so the first phrase is going to sound like this. Okay, counting that out, 1 and 2 and 3, 4. Okay, so I pluck the low E string open twice, then the 4th fret G sharp, 2nd fret of the A string, and then the open D string. Okay, put that together again. Alright, now we're going to play that again, but we're going to wait until beat number 3 of the next measure. So, counting that out, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, so it drops you back off on beat number 1, and we're just going to let that open D string ring out for a full measure. Okay, so putting that together again, counting nice and slow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, from there we're going to go into the long version of this riff. It's going to be basically the same thing, just adding a little tag at the end. Okay, so most of that was just repeat 0, 0, 4, 2nd fret A, open D string, and then here's where it's different. We're gonna play 4, 2, 0 on that D string. Now watch my pick. My goal is to end on an upstroke so that way I can get back to the beginning of the measure with a downstroke. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, now we're gonna repeat the long version of that riff 4 times in total. Okay, now let's see if we can play through that entire riff and make sure that you're tapping your foot and counting as you go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Pretty woman. Just like that. Congratulations everybody, you have 3 iconic riffs in your repertoire. Use those as warm-ups in conjunction with your scales and other exercises that you're already used to. Alright friends, thanks so much for checking out session 2 of this iconic riff series. I hope you enjoyed it. Big thanks to my supporters at patreon.com/rifflessons. I hope you're enjoying all those extra resources. Thanks to you guys, I got many more lessons coming up, so keep checking back. Please subscribe, please share. This is Rob at Swift Guitar Lessons in Philadelphia, saying happy picking.